Welcome to Reading Between the Lines with Roshan. In this video essay, broken into two parts, we're going to focus on two texts, a visual and a written one. We are first going to look at the opening scene of Dunkirk, which I found mind-blowing for multiple reasons I'll be discussing in this video essay. We are then going to look at that first page of 1984, mostly in the next video. Well, after I read out that first line, it was just natural to discuss at least the rest of the page, if not the whole novel. We're going to pay specific attention to how Nolan and Orwell use setting and symbols to create a sense of tension, danger, and introduce us to the problem in the narrative. Let's quickly jump into the scene of Dunkirk. It begins with minimal sound, but whatever little you hear is unsettling. You're following a few British soldiers down a narrow alleyway. They don't seem to be looking for anything in particular. They seem tired by the way they are walking. You can see some of them haven't had any water or a smoke for a while. You get a bit of narration that interrupts the scene line by line. I like this. There is no dialogue here. There is no sound as such. And yet, immediately, Nolan shows us that these soldiers are deflated. They're defeated already right at the start of the movie. Also, notice how the narration is worded. The enemy have driven the soldiers to the sea. The enemy, not Germany. It also immediately dissociates you from forming any affiliation. When you mention the enemy instead of the name of the country, you are introducing the antagonist in the narrative and you are immediately sympathizing with a bunch of soldiers walking. The last few words used, deliverance, miracle, communicate clearly with you. You now know that there is something extraordinary that has to happen if the soldiers are to make out of this place alive. The opening shot with this narration interspersed does two things. One, it introduces us to the problem, you're trapped here with no escape, and two, it raises your anticipation for what is to come. You can also see there's something raining down on these soldiers as they are walking, and there's a close-up for less than a second. If you hit pause there, you would understand exactly what the enemy has done. Nolan shows us that along with the physical challenges that soldiers went through in the war, this was also a psychological warfare. Notice the color scheme of the leaflets that are raining down on these soldiers. There's an overt use of red. Needless to say, it's a striking color. And bold letters where you is written and the arrows with the words we surround you. What this does is, it sets up the premise using a symbol in the form of a leaflet and the setting, a common alleyway which under normal circumstances would be a peaceful place for a walk. The first clear, loud, jolting sound you hear is the gunshot firing. You see the soldiers running for their lives. And this does not shock or surprise you because what preceded already laid down the indication that these are not soldiers who would immediately turn around and fight back. You see them falling one by one, except one of course. What I like about this shot is that you are not shown the enemy soldiers. This is not a battle where both sides are shown. You hear gunshots and then you see soldiers dying. It gets me wondering, why are we not shown the soldiers attacking them with grim villainous faces? Well, you can't be certain, but one thing it does is, it continues on what I said earlier about psychological warfare. You don't know where you're being attacked from. You can't see the enemy. And when you can't see the enemy, how do you even fight them? You've got no choice than to stand and die or run for your life. For those interested in history, you might know the German strategy of warfare during World War II. The Blitzkrieg, meaning a rapid attack on the enemy, was used with the purpose to startle and surprise their enemy, dislocating them and getting a winning edge in the battle. This is also what I see in this scene. A blitzkrieg attack on these soldiers who weren't expecting an attack and they're actually so fast you don't see them coming. And the one soldier that survives the enemy assault, what happens to him? Well, you discover that he's twice lucky because he's also fired at by the French soldiers who mistake him for a German until he cries out that he's English. Well, that shot reminded me of this poem by Hemingway called All Armies Are the Same, which is in fact the first line of the 7-line long poem. Hemingway wrote this poem during the First World War when he worked as an ambulance driver in the war. The poem underscores the ill effects and more importantly, the futility of war brought out rightly in the very first line. All armies are the same. They're not different. Whether it's the English or the French or the Germans, it's hard to distinguish one from the other. Maybe enunciating more firmly than ever that there is a common humanity that they all share, which transcends the shallow divisions marked out by borders and boundaries. But the scene does a lot in setting up the problem. the impossibility of escape. And Nolan does this also in every second of this scene. Notice the extremely long, tense, 10-second run that this soldier has until he reaches the safety of the barricades. You're filled with anxiety and you almost half expect him to be shot down by the Germans just like the rest of them were. That doesn't happen though. But before you heave a sigh of relief and sit back, there's a bullet that lands right beside the soldier and you see him running again. You're almost made to feel the problem here, quite literally, and as an audience, you're now alert to the fact that this movie may not let you breathe easy for a second. So there you go. I had fun watching the movie. Needless to say, there are so many things that I've not discussed here regarding the same scene and of course the rest of the movie. But I hope you are able to appreciate the small details that Nolan fills in, and when you sit down to write that scene, you could think about the little nuances you could stuff in through setting and symbol. I hope you enjoyed this session. I'll be seeing you at the first page of 1984 in the next video, but until I see you again, goodbye.